We'll continue with the memory management. So in the last class, we discussed about virtual address space of a process and how operating system data structure also helps in managing this address space. And we said that whenever address is generated, CPU will check it against base and base plus limit register. So if the address is greater than base, but less than base plus limit, then only the access to the memory will be allowed. Otherwise, it will trap to operating system, which will actually give an appropriate message to the user or either terminate the program or depending upon the situation, it will allow the user to continue. So most of the time, it will actually abort the program and create a segmentation fault error in case of Linux machines. So the this is what we discussed in the last class. The first way to ensure that different processes can use the memory and still each program can access the memory efficiently would be to actually provide rather than one a set of base and limit registers, but provide multiple sets of base and limit registers for each segment. So the program is actually consisting of at least 3 segments, which is code segment, stack segment, data segment, and in some cases it might be extra data segment. Generally, the data segment will refer to heap segments. So logically, the program is divided into code segment, stack segment, and data segment. So we'll use 3 sets of registers for each of these segments. So the idea here is that now the different segments can be actually independently allocated. They need not be contiguous. So at a time, the contiguous memory that you need will depend upon the size of the segment. Now, the size of the segment can, if you look from the perspective of the programming language, then a segment would be an entity which will require the contiguous memory allocation. So if you're talking about a loop, then if all the instructions belonging to that loop are in one segment, then naturally once the segment is in the memory, there will not be any miss. So the whole loop can continue without requiring any access from the hard disk. So segment would be a logical entity, and the division of these. So what constitutes a segment will be decided by the user. So the functions which are frequently called and need to be, or a recursive function, they might be defined as a segment. So when we talk about the number of segments, the number of segment will actually be decided by the user. If no segment is decided, then the operating system, or then the compiler on its own can create 3 segments. One is for code and stack and heap. But if code is consisting of multiple, code is very large, and then generally most of the system, they have a segment base register, so the size of the segment would be fixed. So in that particular case, your code has to be spread across multiple segments. So here the segment may be decided by the user. So in any case, the number of segments may vary, and depending upon the number of the segment, the virtual address will consist of 2 parts. One is the segment number and another is the offset. Segment number will tell you which segment we are talking about, and offset is the segment, offset within that segment. And for every segment, we will have a base and limit registers. And if you have multiple segments, so a segment table will be created, and each segment table will keep information about the starting address and the length of the segment. So that whenever an address is generated, the system can check whether this is a valid address or not. So naturally, the segment table based register, and it can keep information on the segment number of segment also, so that if segment number doesn't meet this criteria, then naturally the address translation will not take place. So for valid address, the segment number has to be less than segment table length register, and offset should be less than the limit. So this is how the address translation will take place. The virtual address comes, S is the segment number, and D is the offset within this segment. So first of all, it will check whether the segment, if this, so naturally I'm not shown it here, but S should be checked against the value of segment table length register. If it is a valid segment number, then it will index into the segment table and will locate the values of limit and base. And then it will check whether the offset is less than or limit or not. If yes, then it will be added to the base register and the physical memory will be accessed. So this is what I've taken from operating system concepts, Galvin. So then we also discussed two, that was in the last class, we discussed two examples. One case, the address was a valid address, and another case, the offset was greater than the limit register, so access was not allowed. The challenges with segmentation is that we have to identify the logical entities, and segment can be of variable size. And if segment is too large, for example, there is a loop which carries too many instructions, and if the loop is very large, then it may not be accommodated in a single segment, and that would be a problem. So the idea was that instead of going for logical entities, divide the program into equal-sized partitions, which are called pages. So pages are contiguous. If you look at the virtual address space, it is contiguous address space. And even if the heap and stack are initially not allocated, they will be considered as pages, so there will be pages which are empty. They may or may not be loaded into memory if the memory allocation is not required at runtime. So heap pages may not be loaded. And similarly, stack pages will be loaded as and when the stack grows. So similarly, the physical memory is also considered to be divided into the same size blocks, which are called frames or page frames. And generally, page size will be 2 raised to power something. And because the memory is byte addressable, so page size will be, the unit of page size will be bytes. So operating system will load pages to physical memories, and it will create page table per process to store the mapping. So where is actually a virtual page is stored. So there is a page mapped from virtual address space to the physical address space. And then it will also reserve one register page table base. So whenever a process is loaded, the page table base register will be made to point of what number of pages in the virtual address space will be equal to the number of page table entry. For every page in the virtual address space, there should be a corresponding entry in the page table. And because at a time, a process can run only if one of its pages is loaded. And once that page starts, once all the instructions in that page have been completed, executed, then the next page can be loaded. So in theory, only one page space is sufficient to run the program. Of course, it will require too much of the loading of the page, and it can actually slow down the system, but process will ultimately run. So virtual address space will be virtual address will be a two-tuple VP, which is a page number in the virtual address space. I should not be using the term virtual page number, but generally, because most of the books will say VP, and I use this term. So basically, it is the index of a page into the virtual address space. And this is also used as index into the page table, and that contains the base address of the page in the physical memory. And D is the offset of the page. So this offset will actually depend upon the size of the page which has been allocated. So if the page size is 1024 bytes, it means we need to reserve 10 bits for the offset. And virtual address is also then whatever the virtual address space, we will actually determine the number of bits which will be required to specify this virtual address space. So virtual space will be actually considered as the 2 raised to power m bytes, where that is the nearest to the 2 raised to power m bytes. Similarly, physical address space will be a two-tuple, which is P is the page frame number, and D is the offset within that frame. So generally, address translation will be done by replacing virtual page by physical page number, where physical page number will be obtained from the page table entry at VP index. So if you are reserving m bits for the virtual address, if the virtual address requires m bits and the page size is n bits, so it means the offset is equal to n bit. So the page number, so the identity of the page within the virtual address space will be m minus n bits. So how the translation will take place? This is the virtual address. I should have written. So this is so D is the offset. P is the page number in the virtual address space. So we go to the page table at this index, look at what is the entry there, what is the address of the physical address space. So this becomes the page number of the physical address. We concatenate the virtual address, so offset with this, and what we get is the actual memory address in the physical memory. So this will become more clearer if we look at like this. So for example, let's say this is our virtual address space, and these are the pages in the virtual address space. So initially the page table is empty, and this is our physical memory. And the gray portion shows the pages which have been allocated. Means these are not free right now. And the green area shows the pages which are available. So now let's say the page 0 is brought into the memory. This page 0 is brought into the memory by operating system. And let's say this page 0 is loaded at physical page number 6. So when this loading is done, the page table entry at 0, which is corresponding to this page, will now point to 6. So this is the mapping between virtual page to physical page. Virtual page address to physical page address. So page number 0 in virtual address space is actually mapped to physical page number 6. Similarly, when the second page is brought and mapped like this, the page table entry will be modified like this. Then this, then this. So this is how, so page table is keeping the entry. So now if let's say, this is a scenario in which we are assuming that every page is consisting of 4 bytes. That is just an illustration. So if you look at the page number, okay, so page 0 is starting from address 0000, page 1 is starting from address 0100. These are the binary numbers. And this is where I'm just showing the decimal indices. So these are the virtual addresses in decimal, and these are the virtual addresses in binary. I'm showing the binary only for the start of each page. Okay. So now if you look at the scenario, in this case, every page has got, so the number of virtual pages are 4. So to identify each page, we need 2 bits. This is your virtual page number. So for virtual page number, I need 2 bits. So if you look at, okay, and if you look at the number of size of each page, it is equal to 4 bytes. So for offset also, I need 2 bits. Okay, so least significant bit is the offset, and most significant bits are the page number. So if you look at the page number is 00, 01, 10, 11. And because page size is 4, so offset will require 2 bits. So every page is divisible by 4. The start of every page is divisible by 4 because offset is equal to 0. So now, basically, when we translate, when we map a virtual page to a physical page, so these virtual page number bits will be replaced by actual page number in the physical memory. Now, if you look at the physical memory is consisting of 8 pages. So physical page number will be of 3 bits. So these 2 bits will be substituted by those 3 bits, and offset will be retained as such. For example, let's talk about virtual address 13. Okay, so virtual address 13 in binary will look like 1101. So first 2 bits are the virtual page number. So we index into the page table at this, that will be at entry 3, and what is written here is 1. Now we will look at its corresponding physical page number will be 001. And offset is 01, so it is concatenated. So what we get, the physical address space is actually 5. So basically 13 will map to this 5. There is another example. Now we are taking the virtual address space 7. So if you look at the 7, the virtual address, the page number will be 01 and the offset into this will be 3. So if you look at the page number 1 is mapped to page number 7. Okay, so this is page number 7. So page number 7, so 01 will be replaced by page number 7, so it will be 111, followed by the offset, so it will be 31, the last memory location, this particular case. So that's how the mapping will be done. Now, one thing I have in this particular, in all the examples till now, I have shown that all the pages of the physical memory are brought into the main memory. Oh, sorry, all the pages in the virtual address space have been mapped to the, have been brought into the physical memory. But if the space is not available, then some of the pages may not be brought into the memory. So in this case, let's say page number 2, because of some reason, because of unavailability of the space, could not be loaded. So in this particular case, operating system doesn't know whether the mapping is valid or not, because there is something written at this memory location. So the idea is that, so even if you replace it by 0, it will be something. So it will map this page to this, which is not correct. So to overcome this page, so operating system will keep other information in the page table, and one of the information will be known as valid bit, which will tell you whether this particular page table has been mapped to the memory or not. In some operating systems, because page table will be okay, so I'm saying that page table will be of this size, but ultimately if you look at the page table is also present in the memory. So a complete physical page is available for storing this page table. Now let's say the page table size, so if we say the page size is 4 kilobyte, it means it can have 1024 entries if we assume that each page table entry requires 4 bytes. But quite possibly your program may need only 256 page table entries. So all other entries are actually invalid. They do not make any sense for this particular process. So operating system needs to ensure that this is a valid page table entry and this is an invalid page table entry. So it has to keep one bit to say that this is valid or this is invalid. Second thing is, even if this is a valid page table entry, has the corresponding page been loaded into the memory or not? So it keeps another information called present bit. Okay, present bit. Present bit tells you if whether the page table, whether the corresponding page has been brought into the memory or not. So whether it is present in the main memory or whether it is present on the disk. Then it will also keep other information which we call dirty bit. So page itself might be consisting of some data, which it might be part of your heap segment, or it might be part of your stack. So something might have changed. So if the page has been corrupted, page has been modified, then it needs to be copied back to the hard disk to ensure that it may need to be copied to the hard disk. If the page has not undergone any change, then we need not do anything when we remove this page from the memory. But if it has undergone some change, then it has to be stored back to the hard disk. For example, if you are opening an editor and this editor will need a buffer in which it will keep the file which you are creating. So ultimately this buffer needs to be stored into the hard disk. But this buffer is actually the data of that software, and this data is also stored across multiple pages. So whenever you make some changes to your file, so that data is being changed and that particular page needs to be stored back to the memory. Is that clear? Any questions till now? Janvi, any question? Janvi. Rachit. Rachit, any question? Abdullah? Yash? Jen? Yes, Jen.
Yes, ma'am.
Can you explain what is
Sorry, ma'am.
Can you explain what is dirty bit?
Ma'am, you are not audible enough.
Okay, look at the chat.
Yes, ma'am.
Look at the chat box. Gunjan Shekhawat? Gunjan,
Yes, ma'am.
can you explain what is dirty bit?
Ma'am, dirty bit is when we are not sure that we want to make changes to a page. So we make changes to a page and then we write the page number in a dirty bit.
It's not dirty bit, is not page number. Dirty bit simply indicates whether the page has changed or not. If the page has changed, you may have to copy, OS will copy it back to hard disk. So the idea is that if you're looking at your virtual address space of a process and then that is mapped to the main memory, some of the pages will be data pages. So naturally, the data pages are being changed as the program progresses. So these pages are being changed, so they may have to be saved back to the hard disk. So whenever there is any change in the page content, operating system will actually mark this dirty bit as 1. And when the page needs to be, let's say this process exits, so the pages which have been marked as dirty bit, they will be saved back to the hard disk. So it could be like, for example, you are opening a Microsoft Word and you are creating a file. So that file is the data to the program of Microsoft Word. And naturally, when you're writing the file, when you're changing the content of the file, you are actually making changes to those pages, which are the data pages of this program. So naturally, when you save the file or when you exit this, the operating system will try to save whatever has been changed back to the hard disk. So whatever pages undergo the change, and ultimately, so it will be saved back to the hard disk. That is the idea. So for example, some of the if you look at x86 architecture, then your code instruction and your data is also they can happen on the same page. So if when the program is running, some of the data may undergo change. So naturally, the page content have been modified. So whenever operating system, whenever there is a write to a page, the corresponding bit, dirty bit of that particular page will be set to 1. And when that page needs to be replaced, means that page has to be thrown out and another process has to be brought in, or another page of this process has to be brought in, then operating system will write that page to hard disk. That's the idea.
Okay, ma'am.
The dirty bit of newly created file. What do you mean by newly created file?
Ma'am, if we
long
edit some file, ma'am, if we are editing some file, then its dirty bit changes to 1, sets to 1.
I
But
gave
if
it
we are
as an
creating a new,
example, but as far as the operating system is concerned, it doesn't know what the program is doing. So whenever there is a write operation to a page, a physical page, the corresponding bit of the page table entry is set to 1. That's all. And whenever physical page has to be replaced by virtual page of some other process, or maybe some other virtual page of this process, operating system will write that virtual physical address back to the physical page, back to the hard disk. That's it. So it will ensure that that page is saved back to the respective virtual address of the process. So whenever there is a change to a page, and that page has to be thrown out of the main memory, operating system will save that page. So whenever there is a write operation to the page, the operating system will so whenever you're writing something to the memory, operating system will set the corresponding page table entry of that physical page to 1. Dirty bit will be set to 1. That's all. Okay. Keith Vinod Surana. Vinod Surana. Okay. Why does it take you so much time to type yes?
Ma'am, I replied on the chat. Ma'am, my mic is not proper.
I think it is
Hello?
proper. I think I
Yeah,
can
ma'am.
hear you.
Okay, ma'am. Yeah.
Okay. So we'll continue from here.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So we were talking about page table entries. So if you look at any page table,
Yes.
that's okay. Keith, you can switch off your mic.
Okay, ma'am.
If you look at the page table entry, then it will consist of a valid bit which tells you whether the page table entry is a valid entry or not. It will contain the physical page number, where this page is being mapped to in the physical memory. It can also have protection bit, whether this page is a read-only page, whether you can write to this page, or whether you can execute this page. This becomes important from the perspective of the security. Some of the pages would be read-only page. So the process is not allowed to make any changes to those pages. For example, the code. You do not want to overwrite your own code, so this will be a read page. And some of them might be write, and some of them we execute. And if the pages are shared, then it might be the what process can have permission to access this page also. Then present bit, which will indicate whether the page is present in the memory or it has been swapped to the hard disk. In some of the operating system, a single bit is used to indicate valid and present bit. So if valid bit is set to 0, it means the corresponding page is either an invalid page, or it does not exist in the memory. It is existing in the hard disk. Then dirty bit, whether the page contents have changed since it was loaded into the memory. And reference bits, it will be used for the page replacement policy. You have come across these policies in your computer architecture class. So for example, if you're talking about least recently used page, then actually we have to know what was the usage of this page, and the page which has been used, which has not been used for long, needs to be replaced. There are some examples. So let's assume that page size is equal to 2048 bytes and process size is equal to 72766 bytes. So if you divide this process size with the number of pages, so you require at least 36 pages. So 35 full pages, and the last page will require only 1086 byte. So the fragmentation is within the page, and this fragmentation is equal to 2048 minus 1086, that is equal to 962 bytes. So now all of you please try to solve the first one, in which process size is equal to 23 megabyte and page size equal to 4 kilobyte. And let me know what is your fragmentation. Continue quickly. So have you calculated? Okay, Pranay, what is your answer? Pranay Kanjolia.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, zero.
Why is it zero?
Ma'am, because they are divisible. Process size is divisible by page size.
Okay, Hardik. Hardik.
Yes, ma'am.
What would be the number of bits required for offset if the page size is 512 bytes? Harsha, can you answer that? Harsha.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, what is the page size?
512 bytes.
Mhm. 9 bits.
9 bits. Okay. So now let's go for the. So if you have to create a page of the page table. So let's assume that the number of bits which are reserved for virtual address space. So virtual address requires 22 bits. And size of page is equal to 4 kilobyte. And let's assume that physical memory size is 16 megabyte. Okay, so you can look at these data. Page size is equal to 4 kilobyte, physical memory size is equal to 16 megabyte, and virtual address is equal to 22 bits. So Nitesh, can you tell me what will be the number of bits required for the offset? Nitesh Sharma. Rishi Roshan Singh, can you tell me? Page size is 4 kilobytes, so what will be the number of bits required for offset? 12. Okay. Now, what can you say about the number of virtual pages? So out of 22 bits, 12 bits have been reserved for offset. So how many bits are there for virtual page number? Dave Milan, can you tell me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so there are 10 bits. So naturally now, but okay, so now physical memory size is 16 megabyte and page size is 4 kilobyte. So what can you tell me about the number of physical pages, number of pages which are available in the memory? Navdeep? What will be the number of pages? The physical memory is 16 megabyte and page size is 4 kilobytes. So how many pages can be allocated in the main memory? Piyush Verma? Gaurav Saini? Adnan Khan? Pia? Soumya Gupta? Harminder, Chirag Dua, Chirag Dua, Nidhi Hemant, Navdeep, what is the answer? Navdeep? Okay. So we want to find the size of the page table. So size of the page table will depend upon what? It will depend upon number of virtual pages. So for every virtual page, we have to keep a physical page table entry. So the number of entries in the page table depends upon the number of virtual pages, number of pages in the virtual address space. Okay. And then it depends upon what should we store in each page table entry. So in each page table entry, we need to store at least the page number in the physical memory, page frame number. So let's try to find out. So virtual address space was 22 bits. So page size was 4 kilobytes. So it means we require 12 bits for the page offset. So the number of bits for the page number in the virtual address space will be 10 bits. So it means the number of virtual pages is 2 raised to power 10. That means number of entries in the page table is equal to 2 raised to power 10. And now, because the physical page memory size is 2 raised to power 24, so the number of entries that we require for every physical page number will be equal to 14 bits. So that's what he said. He said answer was 4096. So for 4096, we require 14 bits, correct? But we'll make it round it to the nearest 2 raised to power something. So that will be 2 raised to power 4, that is 16. So page table entry will require 2 bytes. So number of page table entries is equal to 2 raised to power n, and each entry will require 2 bytes. So it means the size of the page table will be at least 2 kilobyte. And of course, if we add protection bits and this and that bits, so number of bytes will change here. But right now I'm assuming very simple scenario. So this will be the size of the page table. That's okay. Okay, Tavish, thank you. Okay, then solve for this one. The virtual address space is 950 megabyte. Page size is 16 kilobyte. Physical memory size is 4 gigabyte. So what will be the size of the page table? Please continue, all of you. Now in this particular case, you have to find out how many minimum number of bits that you require for the virtual address space. Continue quickly. Hemant Bajaj. Hemant Bajaj. Hemant, are you there? Keshav Garg. Keshav Garg. Satyajit Roy. Satyajit Roy. Mayank Kalsan. Balkrishna Sehra. What is the unit of 256? Balkrishna Sehra. Chitransh. Chitransh Jinger. Samyak. Samyak Jain. Hardik single? Hardik?
Yes, ma'am.
What will be the unit of this?
What?
Keshav has written 256. Is his answer correct? I asked you to calculate something, no?
Yes, ma'am.
Aditya, can you give me the answer? What will be the unit? Byte, kilobyte, what is the unit? Karn Maurya. Karn Maurya. Okay, Karn. I'm asking the question, what is the answer to the questions that you are not trying to tell me, Karn? Did you understand what I was telling you? Okay, let's try to look at what is the answer. So it is 950 megabyte. So it will require, because it is greater than 512 megabyte, but less than 1024 megabytes. So it will require 30 bits. Page size was 16 kilobytes. So we'll require 14 bits for the page. So number of, so the offset will be equal to 14 bits. So if we subtract this offset from 30 bits, so you get number of bits required for the virtual page number will be 16 bits. So number of virtual pages will be 2 raised to power 16. And if you look at the physical memory size, it is 2 raised to power 32 bytes. So if you subtract the page offset, so number of bits required for the physical page number would be 18 bits. Okay, it means if you divide it by 8, so you require at least 3 bytes for each page table entry. So the number of entries in the page table is 2 raised to power 16, and number of bytes required for each page table entry would be 3 bytes. So the size of the page table will be equal to 192 kilobyte. Any questions till now? Okay. So generally page table will be kept into the memory. And there will be one page table based register which will keep the information about the starting address of the page table, and a page table length register will keep the size of the page table. Generally the operating okay, and you will require two memory access. One to if I want to read any memory location in the memory, two memory access will be required. First access will be to the page table, so that you know where that virtual address is actually located in the physical memory, and then the second access will be for that particular data and instruction. And to ensure that a faster lookup, so this two access can be time consuming. So a faster access can be done by making use of a translation look aside buffer, which is a kind of cache and hardware cache, which is an associative memory. So in order one time you can gain information about where the corresponding page table is corresponding physical page is located, and because it is a cache, it is faster than the memory. So address translation with translation look aside buffer will look like this. So processor will first of all try to see whether this particular entry corresponding to this virtual page number is in the TLB or not. If yes, then what is the corresponding physical address for this particular entry? So if there is a TLB hit, this entry will be used. If there is a miss, then it will go to fetch the page table from the main memory and gain this information. And then once you know where the physical page is located, then you concatenate the offset and get the access to the actual address. Now, one thing that you need to remember is that the entries in the TLB may not be indexed by the virtual page number, because all the entries may not be there. As and when a page is needed, then that entry will be made here. So these entries need not be in the sorted manner sort of thing. So they might not be sorted. So that's why it has to keep information about the page number also. That is the virtual page number. So this is the virtual address. This is the physical address. So TLB has to keep both the information. And because this is associative memory, so the search is done in parallel. So even if this is not sorted on the virtual page number, the access will be, as I said, order 1. So this is a calculation for effective page access time. So let's say hit ratio is equal to alpha, and alpha is given to be 80%. And let's say the access time for TLB is 20 nanosecond and access time for memory is 100 nanosecond. So effective access time to read a memory location would be that if it is a hit, then you read the information about the location of the page from the actual location on the main memory from the TLB, and then you access the corresponding page. If this is a miss, then you first check in the TLB, there is a miss, then you go to the page number, then you go to the page table. So you have to access the page from the page table, then you access the actual page. So if there is a miss, then you require this much time. So the total time taken for this particular scenario would be 140 nanoseconds. What if I change the alpha to 99%? Then, of course, the access time will come close. So now this access time will depend upon the, if your TLB time is very, very small, then this can be made negligible. And if alpha is very, very high, then you find that this access time is very, very close to accessing only one memory page. That is, you read the actual data. So the access time for the page table would be reduced quite a lot if your hit ratio is very high and your access time for TLB is very, very low. So now it is quite possible that you're trying to read a page from the memory and that page is not available in the memory. So what will happen in that particular case? In that particular case, first of all, the operating system is checking whether the page is available in the memory or not. Because page is not available in the memory, then it will create an exception. It will trap to, processor is trying to read a page, and because of invalid entry, it tracks to operating system, and then operating system will locate the page from the hard disk. How does it know where on the hard disk it is located? Because it knows where the process is mapping to the hard disk, and then it will load the page, find a free frame, load the page into that free frame, and then change this entry of the corresponding entry of the page table. And then the instruction, it will return from the trap, and then the same instruction will be executed. But this time it will not trap because this page table now entry is now corresponding to a valid page. Okay. Now, if your page table is very small, then number of pages will increase and your page table size will increase, and internal fragmentation will decrease, but number of page faults may increase because you may have to load and reload the pages again and again. But memory can be efficiently utilized because internal fragmentation is low. If the page size is very large, then memory is wasted in internal fragmentation. The page table size will reduce, and because most of the content of the program is available, so page fault may also reduce. So the page table that we have considered till now is a linear page table, in which page table base register keeps the address of the start of the page table, and this is here the page table is actually allocated. And this page table is at least consists of valid bit. In some systems, older systems, it was valid bit and present bit. Then some protection bits, whether the page can be read only, whether the page can be returned to, or whether you can execute an instruction, execute something which is stored on this page or not. And then the actual page frame number. So this is how the page table will be stored. Problem with the page table is that we need to keep one page table per process. So if the virtual address is equal to 32-bit and page size is equal to 4 kilobytes, so I have calculated the size of the page table for this particular process will be 4 megabyte. And if operating system is keeping 20 such processes at a time in the memory, so you require actually 80 megabyte for all the page tables. So it will be too much of the data which is being reserved for the page table. So our other alternatives that we'll be discussing in the next class would be inverted page table, hierarchical paging, and hashed page table. So I will stop sharing now. If you have any questions, you can ask me. Any questions? So I'm posing a small question on the classroom. And the moment I pose it, you need to actually answer it. So I'll not give you too much time for this.